This is Shifting Our Schools, episode 77. Let's teach the modern day calendar.
Listen up, educators. Are you looking to take your classroom to the next level? The technological shift in education is happening right now. If you're looking to integrate technology into your classroom, you're in the right place. Welcome to Shifting Our Schools with your host, Jeff Udick.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Shifting Our Schools. Thank you for tuning in this week as I find myself in Shenzhen, China, here where I'm going to be for the next couple days working with the Avenues School. You can find out more about them at avenues.org, and I'll make sure to put a link in the show notes as well. I will be here working with my good friend Andy Torres, who was my principal when I worked in Saudi Arabia and then again in Shanghai. And so he is the head of school here at Avenues. They're starting up their school here in Shenzhen, China. And I'm excited to be working with both educators and parents over the next couple days. And just great to be back in China. I haven't been here for a while. Actually, next week's episode will be an interview with Andy talking about his travels. What is he seeing from an international perspective? And you can go back if you go back episodes 1 through 29 from 2007 and 2008, you'll find a lot of interviews with Andy back in the day when we started Shifting Our Schools. He's always been a great friend and mentor, and I'm excited to be able to sit down with him again and talk about the changes that he's seen in education on a global level as well. This week, though, I just wanted to have a quick conversation. This should be a quick podcast, as I have been thinking a lot about as we get close to the end of the year, what are some of those skills that I feel like get missed from time to time? And the other day, I was going through my Google Reader, or I guess Feedly now. It used to be Google Reader, my Feedly Reader, and up popped an article that were 10 tricks for your Google Calendar. And every time I see these, I get very frustrated because I look at the 10 tricks, and of the 10, I knew them all. There were no real big tricks to using a calendar. But what I'm finding is the more I talk to students, the more I'm finding kids don't use a calendaring system. And I'm wondering, where did we drop that? Where did we drop this idea that kids need to learn a calendar? I know so many schools that back in the day used to hand kids a paper calendar or hand them a journal to keep track of. I remember being a fourth grade teacher and having kids open up their homework journal and actually writing the date and writing what your homework was. And I feel like we've gotten away from that. Now that every kid has a phone in their pocket, are we teaching them how to use the modern day calendar? Are we teaching them they can have multiple different calendars? Are we teaching them they can set alarms for themselves? When kids are asked to write down the homework, are we having them open up the calendar on their phone and teaching them how they can use the calendar that they carry with them all the time, that syncs across all their devices in a very powerful way? And what I'm finding is when I talk to students from 5th grade through high school, not a single one of them is using their calendar. Now, maybe I'm just asking the wrong kids. And if you're using calendars with your kids, I'd really appreciate if you stopped by sospodcast.org, clicked on comments at the top, and left us a Flipgrid response of how are you teaching calendaring skills, specifically teaching the skill of calendaring in a modern sense, in that we have one with us all the time. And we need to help students get to a place where they know how to use this really powerful tool that is in their pocket. I know a lot of students who like to take photos of the homework as it's written on the board, or take photos of work at the end of class, which is fantastic. But did you know you can put that photo in your event, in your calendar, to remind you later? And being able to have it set up so that you know that homework is happening or that tests are happening. If you use Google Classroom as a teacher, do you know that there is a calendar that's automatically associated with your Google Classroom? And do students have access to that? And are you helping students use due dates as a way to monitor their lives and helping them to put everything in it, whether you have swim practice or you have a volleyball meet or whatever it happens to be? All of that stuff needs to be in your calendar so that we're teaching kids how to actually track and support them in these over-structured lives that they're living today. A calendar is so important. So as we wind down this school year and we start thinking about those little bits of times we get in between testing windows, can we take some time to actually help kids and talk to your students about using calendars? How many of your students are using a calendar and using it successfully versus how many students aren't using the calendar that they carry around in their pocket every day. I'm going to link a couple articles in the show notes to this of different tips and tricks for using calendars that you might want to pass on to your students that they may or may not know. And it doesn't matter if you're using Google or Microsoft, everybody has a calendaring solution, and we need to understand how to use today's modern calendar. So that's it from Shenzhen, China. Let's talk about calendars with our kids. And please stop by, if you are teaching calendaring skills, stop by sospodcast.org and leave us a comment and tell us what are some of the ways that you're helping students to structure their lives using today's modern calendar. And with that, I'll see you on the network.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Shifting Our Schools with your host, Jeff Udick. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit sospodcast.org, facebook.com/Jeff Udick, and on Twitter @JUdick. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on Shifting Our Schools.